There was a time before Star Wars when filmmakers tried to imagine the great frontier of space using scraps of pulp inspiration and raw imagination. These early visions shaped the atmosphere, tone, and mythic structure that would later explode into a global phenomenon. Many of these films vanished from memory, yet they carried the seeds of future legends. Today, we uncover forgotten treasures that helped build a galaxy far away. Number 12. Message from Space, 1978. Message from Space stands as one of the most ambitious and overlooked attempts to fuse samurai myth, Western spirit, and cosmic warfare before the world fully understood the scale of the saga that Star Wars would ignite. Although released shortly after the Star Wars phenomenon, this Japanese epic had already been in development during the mid-70s and was born from the same longing for mythic quests across the stars. It appeared as a dazzling fever dream, where destiny warriors and ancient prophecies collided in the infinite shadow of galactic war. The story follows a group of unlikely heroes recruited by a dying planet that sends glowing seeds drifting through the universe searching for champions. The chosen wanderers, each representing different codes of honor, soon discover a sinister empire tightening its grip over the galaxy. Their journey blends swordplay, daring escapes, and sweeping battles, echoing the tonal rhythms of classic westerns where drifters and outcasts rise to stand against impossible tyranny. Though critics found its style, chaotic audiences admired the practical effects, imaginative set pieces, and bold energy. Behind the scenes, the production struggled with rushed deadlines, international collaborations, and immense pressure to compete with the massive cultural shift Star Wars had created. Yet, its heart remained pure. It honored pulp serials, samurai cinema, and old frontier heroism, making it a legitimate space-western precursor, even if overshadowed by the rising sun of Lucas' legacy. Number 11. The Green Slime, 1968. The Green Slime arrived with wild ambition long before the term space western reached mainstream awareness. It was chaotic, fearless, and utterly devoted to its own brand of cosmic frontier bravery. Produced through an unusual blend of American and Japanese filmmaking traditions, it created a world where astronauts behaved like hardened gunslingers locked in a desperate battle on the edge of known space. This frontier station floating above Earth felt like a saloon town clinging to survival. The plot centers on a military crew who destroy an approaching asteroid only to bring back a strange life form that mutates into electrified monsters spreading across their orbital base. The sense of isolation and impending doom mirrors the tension of Western strongholds overtaken by outlaws who cannot be reasoned with. Heroes stand shoulder to shoulder, trading courage for time, hoping reinforcements will arrive before the last barricade falls. Production was rough, with limited resources, rapid shooting schedules, and conflicting creative visions. Yet the film carved out a bizarre charm through bold costumes, eerie lighting, and relentless pacing. Audiences were stunned by its intensity while critics struggled to categorize it. Today, its camp energy and frontier mindset reveal a direct connection to the ethos that made Star Wars resonate. Ordinary people in extraordinary circumstances must face the unknown with determination and grit. Number 10. Queen of Blood, 1966. Queen of Blood sits quietly in the shadowy corners of film history, yet it remains one of the clearest stepping stones linking pulp serial adventure to the mythic structure later perfected in Star Wars. It is a haunting blend of space exploration, gothic tension, and Western-style frontier bravery. The film was stitched together using leftover footage from Soviet productions combined with new scenes featuring American actors, creating a surreal hybrid that feels like a dream drifting across galaxies. The story follows a rescue team sent to bring home a mysterious alien survivor whose beauty conceals an ancient hunger. As the crew travels across silent voids, tension grows and alliances fracture. This wandering band of explorers resembles the drifter ensembles of classic westerns, bound together by necessity rather than trust. The lonely cosmic frontier mirrors the dusty plains of forgotten towns where danger lingers in every shadow. Behind the scenes, the production faced budget constraints, improvisation, and last-minute rewriting. Yet, these limitations created an atmosphere that felt raw and unpredictable. Audiences were drawn to its eerie mood, while critics debated its influences. Its mix of heroism, mystique, and treacherous encounters foreshadowed the dramatic clashes, destiny-driven journeys, and eclectic crews that Star Wars would later embrace. Number 9. First Spaceship on Venus, 1960. First Spaceship on Venus stands as one of the earliest attempts to merge cosmic wonder with the quiet introspection of a Western frontier odyssey. Adapted from the work of Stanislaw Lem, this international production envisioned a journey across space that revealed not triumph, but haunting desolation. Its explorers land on Venus expecting communication or conflict, yet discover only ruins and echoes of a vanished civilization. This sense of wandering across a dead land, where clues whisper of ancient tragedy, mirrors the solitary hero archetype that later shaped Star Wars mythology. The crew members speak with idealistic conviction, yet tension brews beneath their unified objective. Each step on the alien planet feels like a trek across a silent frontier where no laws guide survival and no allies wait beyond the horizon. The landscapes evoke imagery that predates the barren deserts of Tatooine and the concept of forgotten technological societies long abandoned by fate. Behind the scenes, the production was ambitious yet strained by budget limitations and large-scale technical demands. Model work, atmospheric effects, and unusual sound design pushed boundaries for their time. Critics responded cautiously, but audiences were captivated by the sense of mystery. Though remembered quietly today, the film broadened the idea that space could feel ancient, wild, and filled with secrets waiting to shape galactic futures. Number 8. The Angry Red Planet, 1959. The Angry Red Planet transformed the vast unknown of Mars into a rugged frontier, echoing the earliest cowboy tales where explorers pushed into lands untouched by familiar rules. The film embraced a bold visual style using a distinctive red filter that made the Martian landscape feel theatrical, dreamlike, and dangerous. This striking aesthetic called attention to how alien worlds could become symbolic battlegrounds for human courage, a concept later expanded with great success in Star Wars. The narrative follows a small crew marooned on the hostile surface, forced to fight monstrous creatures and survive unpredictable terrain. The pacing reflects classic Western standoffs where the heroes realize that every shadow holds a potential threat. The characters rely on bravery, quick thinking, and loyalty, much like the adventurers who would later populate the galaxy far away. Martian creatures such as the iconic Spider-Bat hybrid made audiences realize that outer space could carry the same mythic intensity as frontier wilderness. Production challenges included pioneering a visual process intended to mask budget limits and amplify atmosphere. Although critics were mixed, the film found its audience among science fiction fans who admired its ambition. Its influence can be traced in the way Star Wars blends exotic planets, rugged encounters, and old-world bravery into a unified mythic tapestry. Number 7. Battle Beyond the Sun, 1962. Battle Beyond the Sun arrived during a tense era when global powers raced not only for territory but for control of the stars. This Soviet production, later reworked by Roger Corman, captured the spirit of competing empires clashing for dominance across cosmic frontiers. Long before the Galactic Empire and Rebel Alliance became iconic, audiences saw a reflection of these themes in this ambitious yet unusual film. The story follows rival factions sending missions toward a distant star system, hoping to secure prestige and survival. The dangers encountered, from cosmic storms to surreal creatures, emphasize that frontier exploration carries no guarantees. Characters from opposing sides become reluctant allies when confronted with forces beyond human understanding, a structure that resembles later Star Wars alliances forged under pressure and moral awakening. Behind the scenes, the American recut altered tone, pacing, and imagery, attempting to appeal to drive in audiences and emphasize sensational elements. This created a hybrid narrative, both political and fantastical. Though critics sometimes dismissed it, the film introduced imagery of dueling ideologies, star-faring nations, and unexplored realms waiting to reshape destiny. These ideas formed part of the conceptual soil from which Star Wars would eventually grow, blending political tension with mythic scope and universal heroism. Number 6. Destination Inner Space, 1966. Destination Inner Space may unfold beneath the ocean rather than among the stars, yet its structure, tone, and heroic spirit embody the early space western DNA that would later shape Star Wars. The isolated research base functions like a frontier outpost cut off from civilization where a small team must defend themselves against a rising unknown threat. This perilous setting mirrors the dusty towns and hidden rebel stations that populate galactic tales. The plot follows scientists and military officers who discover a strange saucer resting on the ocean floor. Their investigation unleashes a terrifying creature that infiltrates their station, triggering standoff, suspense, and desperate teamwork. The crew behaves like lawmen and drifters forced into alliance by necessity rather than trust. Tension grows as they face dwindling options, echoing future dynamics between mismatched heroes such as smugglers, princesses, and idealists thrown together in the fight for survival. Behind the scenes, the production team worked with limited budgets and ambitious underwater concepts. Innovative effects were created through practical ingenuity, giving the film a tactile charm that predates the rugged realism later embraced by Star Wars. Though reviewers were divided, viewers appreciated its claustrophobic energy and relentless pacing. Its blend of monster threat mission duty and frontier mindset helped establish a template where brave individuals confront the unknown at the edge of civilization. Number 5. Robinson Crusoe on Mars, 1964. Robinson Crusoe on Mars reimagined the classic survival narrative through a cosmic lens, creating one of the clearest Western-style blueprints leading towards Star Wars. This film presented outer space not as a sleek, futuristic utopia, but as a harsh, lonely wilderness where endurance skill and moral courage determine survival. Its Martian deserts remain some of the most striking pre-Star Wars landscapes ever filmed, resembling the barren reach of Tatooine years before audiences met a young farm boy destined for greatness. The story follows an astronaut stranded on Mars, forced to navigate limited resources, hostile conditions, and unsettling mysteries. His journey is not just physical, but emotional, as he confronts loneliness, hope, and unexpected companionship. This echoes the emotional depth later seen in Star Wars, where characters must find inner strength before shaping galactic destiny. Production was challenging, as filmmakers sought realism through detailed suits, authentic terrain, photography, and careful scientific speculation. Yet the film also embraced mythic elements, particularly through the arrival of a fugitive alien slave and mysterious star-faring oppressors, elements that presaged the rise of empires and rebellions in later storytelling. Audiences admired its sincerity, while critics praised its blend of spectacle, introspection, and adventure. It stands today as a vital stepping stone in the evolution of the space-western spirit. Number 4. Planet of the Vampires, 1965. Planet of the Vampires stands as one of the most visually influential science fiction films of its era, merging cosmic dread with raw frontier tension. Director Mario Bava created a realm where starship crews displayed the grit and defiance of Old West lawmen while confronting threats that defied mortal comprehension. Its stark lighting, leather-clad costumes, and haunting derelict starship landscapes later inspired film aesthetics across the world and profoundly shaped the mood that Star Wars would inherit. The plot follows two ships answering a distress call on a distant planet. Once there, officers discover that an unseen force is manipulating their minds and turning fallen comrades into terrifying reanimated foes. This transforms the narrative into a battle for survival, where human bonds are tested under extreme pressure. The sense of isolation and lawless cosmic terrain mirrors Western towns swallowed by superstition, danger, and shifting alliances. Behind the scenes, Bava used limited resources and creative lighting to craft an atmosphere unlike anything in earlier science fiction. Practical sets, miniature models, and forced perspective techniques produced environments that felt ancient, hostile, and mythic. Though not a major box office hit, the film became a cult sensation and heavily influenced both Star Wars and later Ridley Scott works. Its fusion of mystery, cosmic terror, and frontier heroism marked a turning point in the evolution of cinematic space mythology. Number 3. Journey to the Seventh Planet, 1962. Journey to the Seventh Planet feels like a lost fable from the dawning age of space adventure, where cosmic exploration meets the eerie silence of a bewitched frontier. This Danish-American production follows a United Nations crew sent to Uranus on a routine mission only to discover a strange landscape that seems to mirror their own memories and fears. The planet appears welcoming, yet every comfort hides an unseen manipulator. The crew soon realize that an alien intelligence is reading their minds and reshaping reality around them. Familiar towns appear where no cities should exist. Beautiful companions step from their dreams. Yet behind these illusions lurks a monstrous entity that seeks control of their ship and their world. This concept of a seemingly friendly environment disguising immense danger anticipates later Star Wars locations where paradise can hide oppression and temptation. Production relied on inventive miniature work, simple yet effective sets, and a playful yet unsettling tone. Performers embody the feel of rugged explorers testing their courage against forces beyond understanding. The mix of fantasy horror and heroism gave audiences a glimpse of how space stories could carry the same mythic resonance as tales of gunslingers, mysterious strangers, and cursed frontier towns. Journey to the Seventh Planet stands today as a crucial bridge between early pulp imagination and the richer galactic mythos that Star Wars would perfect. Number 2. The Phantom Planet, 1961. The Phantom Planet took the idea of a lone wanderer facing a strange world and pushed it into surreal territory decades before audiences met Luke Skywalker on a desert rim of the galaxy. This film follows an astronaut who becomes stranded on a wandering asteroid, where a race of miniaturized humans fights for survival against enormous cosmic threats. The shrinking effect turns him into an outsider, forced to adapt to a new scale of danger and duty. The cultures and rituals of these asteroid dwellers resemble small frontier communities clinging to existence under constant siege. Their enemies are colossal space creatures and rival forces that treat them as insignificant. Yet, bravery, loyalty, and sacrifice transform these tiny warriors into towering legends. This echoes the way Star Wars elevates moisture farmers, smugglers, and exiles into galaxy-shaping heroes. Behind the scenes, the Phantom Planet used clever practical effects masks and sets to stretch a modest budget into a full otherworldly experience. While critics at the time considered it a strange curiosity, fans of early science fiction embraced its sincerity and imagination. The idea that an isolated world drifting through space could host complex societies, ancient feuds, and chivalric codes laid groundwork for later planetary adventures. It proved that even the smallest corner of the cosmos could feel like a wild, untamed frontier. Number 1. Space Master X 7, 1958. Space Master X 7 may not feature blasters, starships, or alien barrooms, yet its spirit embodies the rugged determination and creeping dread that later fed into Star Wars and many other galactic sagas. This film trades distant planets for a more grounded but still cosmic threat. A sample of alien spores returns to Earth and begins spreading as a relentless organism that consumes everything it touches. The battle is not just scientific, it is moral and personal. At its core, this is a pursuit story very close to a classic Western structure. A determined investigator races across landscapes, tracing the path of infection and confronting people who do not yet grasp the scale of danger. The alien X7 becomes the unstoppable outlaw that cannot be reasoned with, only contained through bravery, sacrifice, and quick thinking. Each encounter escalates tension, echoing the future urgency of Rebel missions racing against Imperial superweapons. The production faced tight schedules and minimal effects, yet used those limitations to craft an atmosphere of realism. Characters act like working professionals under fire rather than untouchable superheroes. This grounded approach would later influence how Star Wars portrayed pilots, smugglers, and soldiers as ordinary individuals pushed into extraordinary roles. Space Master X7 stands as a vital early step in merging cosmic menace with frontier storytelling, showing that the truest battles of the future would still be fought by flawed human hearts. Before Star Wars reshaped cinema into a galaxy of hyperspace duels and legendary destinies, these strange, fearless experiments dared to mix dusty frontier myths with the cold silence of space. They stumbled, reached beyond their limits, and sometimes disappeared into obscurity. Yet their echoes live on in every starfighter chase and every lonely hero staring at twin suns wondering what waits beyond the horizon.